So what you should know about the CSEC Physics exam. So basically, CSEC Physics is one of the main science subjects, right? It's one of the main science subjects, and obviously it have the most maths in it, right? So that means it's not for everybody, right? So physics is a very, you know what, well, technical is not the word, but it's either you know it or you don't know it, right? So basically for CSEC Physics, you have the paper 1, you have the paper 2, you have the paper 3. So basically it's either you do the paper 3 or you do the SB, and the SB is basically the lab book. So some of the main like topics and stuff in a physics, you have like momentum and velocity and all them something there. All of that come under physics, right? And as I said before, it's not for everybody. But for the paper 1, it's going to be 60 multiple choice questions, 1 hour, and I think it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. So basically 1 hour and 15 minutes for 60 multiple choice, right? So 60 MCQ, 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then the paper 2, 2 hours. So basically the paper 2 is going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes. But basically one of the main characteristics or the main features of the paper 2 exam is that it has a graph. Now biology, chemistry, physics, all three of them come with a graph. So one of the main things in a physics too is being able to actually, and the fact that they put a graph on it, before you're going to the exam, you need to know how to actually make a scale. So if them give a table with some values and say plot velocity times something, and you have to actually come up with a scale. So you have to know how to obviously make a scale. You have to know X and Y. Yeah, if you go up on the axis them, you have to know how to do a line of best fit. It'll add them something there. You know, find a gradient from the graph. All of them something there. We extrapolate from the graph and all that stuff. See if you know all of them something there before you're gonna do the exam. And also definitions are very important. So for example, they might say define momentum or define velocity and stuff like that. So you're going to need to do that. Obviously you're going to need a calculator for the CSEC Physics exam because you're going to calculate different things. Now me can't tell about the calculations then, because even my exam when I sit, I barely calculate upon that because it's just never my area, right? So I'm gonna tell you, me literally I prepare myself. So if I don't know if we'd ever pass physics, to be honest, because the way all physics did move, me just didn't learn nothing, right? But the strategy what me did going there with is going in there and say, alright, if me know all of the definition them, even if we can't calculate nothing, at least the definition them must word something. And as for the formula them, if we can at least put the formula and maybe the end result wrong, at least something on the paper, you know, right? So we can at least get like a marks from that. But to me, it's not an easy exam. And to be honest, physics still don't make no sense to me even today. Even today, certain aspects of physics don't make absolutely no sense to me, right? But yeah, so physics is not for everybody. You have the paper 1, which is a 60 MCQ, and you have the paper 2, which is 2 hours and 30 minutes. And don't underestimate the time where you get. Them know exactly why they might give you that time. Now for the paper 1, so the paper 1, those MCQ, my advice to that is to watch past paper videos. Watch your past paper videos, them watching people work the physics question them, yes, the paper 1. See the answers of them choose on it, because the questions them might repeat. So if them repeat, you want to make sure you know what the answer is. So if you're going to an exam and you know you yourself cannot work the question or you just don't know the answer, you gotta remember to say, oh, in the video the person choose this answer, so make choose this answer too. Right? Because it's all about what you put on the paper. It's not about what you never put on the paper, and it's all about what you put on the paper. And obviously for the paper 1, you're going to shade in the answer. The CSEC Physics exam. Now, even before you get into the exam, that lab book is very, very important, right? So it's important that you complete the lab book, like as in don't miss your labs them, right? Because you need to complete them, so don't miss your labs them. And so you actually write them up so your teacher can have something for mark at the end of the day. So what my school they do, then they sell the lab books. But what I hear is like before them start sell lab books, you have to write up everything, right? But them sell a lab book and you're filling in all of the necessary stuff them, right? And that lab book is what is the SP/the paper 3. Now if you're done with SBA, then that is how you would end up doing the paper 3 exam for physics, right? And it's usually people who are not in high school, or people who just do it externally, them would end up with the paper 3, right? Because them not necessarily in the school system, or I mean, if I say it, but yeah. But basically, don't underestimate it. So there's a textbook. There's a textbook that I would recommend, and it's the CSEC Physics Concise. Now, you remember me, I said, oh, me do the exam, and I pay a definition, me right pan it. Because I tell you, say, I'm not sure if I calculate if I want something right pan that, to be honest. So, knowing the definition them, because even if you know the definition of something, you know, you can say, oh, this mean this, right? But for calculate is a whole another story. And in my situation, even maths is better than physics, because physics was just not making any sense. What they did when me did physics, CSEC Physics, basically, in grade 9, then they teach some physics, right? So basically, physics is start from grade 9. But basically, it was like, you know, like a static electricity, them look at something like current electricity, you understand? Nothing complex, just that. And then you go to grade 10, them might tell us you should learn X, Y, and Z, when X, Y, and Z never did teach in a grade 9. And then there is when, that is how the gap come in the system. Because when that grade 10 teacher come in and say, oh, you learn X, Y, and Z, I mean, I said to myself, we learn which X, Y, and Z, that was not, it's not even like, say, oh, you need to pay attention. But it's just never in the curriculum, because them must say them teach X, Y, and Z in a grade 9. The teacher never did teach them something, as in the concept them never come up. It's not even like, oh, you did see it before, but you just never learn it. We just never see it, never learn it, never know nothing about it. So this grade 10 teacher come in and say, oh, you should know X, Y, and Z, because I'm tell her. This particular teacher who did get was actually like a new teacher, right? So recent grad, she just graduated. So she come in and them just tell her X, Y, and Z, she just do her job, you understand? So she said that now there's a gap in the system. A gap in the system between grade 9 and between grade 10, because them never go in at them do something in a grade 9. You remember from grade 9 is static electricity, that's all we talk about, and current electricity. Them look a small something there. Right? What is physics? You know, just because I never really physics we do. I never really physics. We just said I do some little whatever. Because it was like a little introduction to the subject in a grade 9. So now in grade 10, this teacher said, should I learn this? Me I said, And I feel like it's not this story not even specific to me, but this happened to a lot of students in different high schools where there's a gap in the system, and principal not care, teachers not care, then I work with whatever, right? Time limited, CXC give them a deadline, then I work with it. So nobody not actually address the gap in the system, because nobody cares that much, right? So me from this I realized we got a problem, because I don't know what this lady thought about. This was just beyond me. So that is when me buy the textbook. So the book that I recommend is the CSEC Physics Collins Concise book. So that book was where me get the definition them, and that is basically where me start to get a little bit of, you know, understanding about what going on the subject. Because me not me did just come completely lost. What is a momentum? Me never know. All of them something there, me just never know what going on. So when I get that textbook, I start for looking at it, read it, and I say, okay, this make a little bit more sense. I never fully understand nothing, but the reading the textbook for myself did give it a little more clarity. You know what I mean? So it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, when the teacher that teach, me there 1. Read the textbook, me there 4. You understand? So me gone up on the scale. I not completely understand, but it make a little bit more sense when we read the textbook, right? And the next thing what I never did like is because whenever we do the we class them, right? Whenever we did we class them, the emphasis was so much on labs, right? So because I spent so much time, I'd rush for the labs, majority of the physics time, and not even just for physics, but biology and also chemistry. The emphasis was just always on lab. You understand? If you complete lab book, right? So it's like, you know, I learn, because all I'm going to basically try to rush the lab them. The goal is just to finish the lab book for submit to CXC. And then the goal is just to finish the syllabus. Them like if I learn that, them just want to say, them as the teacher did finish the syllabus, and them just want to say, them as the teacher did collect all the lab book, them everybody them lab. Right? And obviously that's important, but at the same time, You go through the entire 2 years and I learn nothing. You do the labs then, but you don't learn nothing. You write definition, but you don't learn nothing. Right? So I'm going to say do not underestimate the CSEC Physics Exam. Paper 2 is 2 hours and 30 minutes. The paper 1, 60 MCQ. And it's 1 hour and, there you go, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Do not underestimate the CSEC Physics Exam. But basically, those are just my 2 cents about it and what you need to know. So submit a good SBA, submit a good lab book, prepare for the paper 2, prepare for the paper 1. And as I said before, watch past paper videos, check csecpastpapers.com, and also check out the CXE playlist down below. And basically just take advantage of different resources, such as the same textbook that I recommended. Who read the book? I remember who read the book. Basically, CSEC Physics Collins Concise. That textbook is the book that I recommend. So yeah, that's basically the end of what you need to know about the CSEC Physics Exam. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.